Hello and welcome back to another lesson with Calvin's son. This is lesson number 4, and the main focus with this is going to be on direction and joseki. Now, at the beginning of this lesson, we go over 3 joseki that I have a little bit of trouble with. A lot of people who watch the streams would know some of these josekis that I bring up as well. And then after the half an hour of talking about these joseki, we go into looking at the first, I think it was 75 moves for a pro game, looking at direction, looking at why doing things, and a little bit into the joseki as well. So I hope you are able to gain some beneficial information from this, and here's the lesson. Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can, yep.
Okay. Is it good?
Yeah, everything looks like it's good, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Of course, KGS kicks me out, though.
Okay. Take your time. Oh, wait, you kicked me out too.
Oh, so it's not just me. Oh, it looks like
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. It's been a while since that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. I don't play on KJS too much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's back. Nice.
Let's see, now I have to find the things again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right, I have to... Oh, well, I remember the things anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so, I mean, you said that you have a pro game
Yeah.
to... Okay.
But
Well,
if you, I see you have a game open, so if you want to just, uh, let me have a quick look at it, that's fine too.
okay. Well, yeah, I just had a quick question with this game, and then there were 2 josekis that I just feel very uncomfortable with, especially yesterday, my goodness,
Right.
and I want to get those figured out.
Okay.
So with this game, I should have won, but I was being cocky and had to resign because of dumb Koth situation. But
Mhm.
my main thing was this opening thing here. Like, I don't know if this kick is okay, the extension. It just felt weird. And I felt like this was all bad for black, but maybe that was, I don't know how to put it. Like,
Mm-hmm. No,
um,
it's good for white. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with the kick.
and well, how would you go about this then? I mean, with the jump, this does not feel very comfortable for me. And if I feel like if I do something like, well, I don't know. I mean,
Um, I suppose you can. hmm, mm, you can probably just pint. Okay, I have control.
yeah.
So, um, this is probably fine too. I feel like this is probably lighter than the kick because the kick does give him an opportunity to change it up, maybe like something like this, where you don't really have, I guess, a good way to answer to that.
Hmm.
But since he played here, I mean, if you played something like this, maybe higher since his stone is so high for the E14 stone is so high, maybe that's a little better. Uh,
Maybe I was too worried about E17 in this scenario.
E said, I don't think this is good for black. Since, like, I don't think this fight is a bad one for you.
Even with the
I think,
corner?
I think if you did something like this,
Oh, definitely head and liberties, yeah.
Yeah, and even if you're like not ahead in liberties and you come back, like crawling on the second line is not a good idea for black.
True, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's something. The kick is fine too though. Here, I would prefer something like this, just because it's quite it's quite difficult for black to attack that stone. Um, like I can't really like if he wants to come back now, then it's fine for you to Tanuki since his position is so low. If he jumps, then you could jump with him, and if he still reverts back, then you can Tanuki. And in the future, there's stuff like this where you can, or you can probably do this immediately actually, since his stones are so heavy. You can
Hmm.
probably just if it turns out like this, then it's really good for you.
Okay.
Um, like I get where he's going with this, but it just doesn't seem like a good idea for black to choose this Joseki in this case either. So I'm not sure. Um,
What's something that I can tell myself in response to black doing the pincer and then like the pincer is just not something that I would feel like I would do as
mhm,
white.
right,
With right here C7, it just doesn't seem like a move I personally would make.
right.
But what?
But it feels like okay, if you play anything on the outside, say here, there's a possibility that black will play here, and I feel like this is way too comfortable for black because if you attack black, then there's always a way back, and uh, if you play something like this, then black can just jump out. So there doesn't seem like a point for white to play something like this since black isn't really in danger. But playing something like c7 kind of threatens uh, to attack black while making your own territory. And I feel like in the beginning, in the opening, it's good to develop your own uh, influence as well as attack black in the process. So moves like this don't really have a purpose. It seems like it seems that you're jumping out, but like point wise and like position wise, it's not that beneficial for black for white to play like this.
Okay, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, during the game, um, I don't remember when too, but talking about like the potential of a group being able to spread out, I felt like because C7 stops both sides from being able to expand,
Hmm.
um, because there's a stone on each side, C7 and C9. So I felt like that would be too small. So maybe that was what I was thinking during that game,
Mm.
just that it wasn't beneficial. But it does help to secure the corner, and it pushes against the C9 stone, and it threatens. So I don't. So that
I I feel like white is in the attacking position in this case, just because uh, black doesn't really have a position where he can attack the white stone. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, that's just
it makes sense. Yeah.
my opinion. But, I mean, something like this is better left alone, for sure.
Hmm.
Since there's really no point in playing something like this and getting rid of all the Aji. Even now, you can still pincer. It's still a good, like it's this pincer is still a good. Uh, it's big point wise, and also it pressures black. And if black wants to spend another move, then you can place elsewhere. And you can see that black's position is very low. His even point wise, it's not that big since if white like I don't know if white still has like, this is probably Sente. And so stuff like this, Black's position is low, and he's not very, I guess, not that good.
Okay. Yeah, there's just been a lot
But
of strange plays lately.
no, it's like I feel like after AlphaGo, I have to relearn how to play. Which is why I've been doing more recently
Yeah.
because I could do something completely remastered.
You kind of
So, I mean, is there any other like blaring position that you?
it's kind of hard to understand what you're saying for some reason.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. I think I was just too far from the microphone.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you would like to go over for this game?
Oh, for this game, no. It
Some.
was all just that upper left area.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's see.
So would you want to look at the pro game?
There's before doing that, there's two other similar things to this that have been bothering me a heck of a lot as well, and they're
Okay.
similar in the Joseki. One of them is this one, and that was yesterday where it happened. It wasn't on KGS though, so I don't remember which stones were where regarding the
That's fine.
corners, but no matter how I looked at this Joseki, it just doesn't look all that good for black. For example, I mean, there's this, and let's see, this is one of the things Josekipedia showed, but it didn't seem. I mean, well, now that I'm looking at it after calming down, it kind of looks okay, but whoops. But then there's something like this, like the diagonals. I mean, I understand why, but it just feels too slow. Like in the beginning of a game, like I really want to play elsewhere, but if I don't, then there's problems. But let's see what this happened in the game though, where white gets that in.
Fine. That's fine.
But then Josekipedia, I mean, not this specific variation, but it still has black playing something else, and the game just continues on, and then stuff happens.
Something
So
like this. Right.
So I do have to make this priority, even if it's the opening of the game and there's corners open or approaches. Like, is it mandatory to prevent
that is a priority. Yes, I think that's a priority.
Okay.
Could I have command control?
Yeah.
I think Wikipedia is a little outdated. I'm not really sure. Some Josekis on there are pretty good, but then others are kind of old. If I'm correct, I'm assuming it's something like this. Let's just put corners for these. And say it's like something like, okay, where white pictures you can something like that. This is okay. This is a good move. For white to play this, the point of this is that white doesn't want to exchange Q13 and R13, right? Because that's a bad exchange for white. So playing this, even though it's slightly worse for black, I think it's still acceptable just because your position is still nice. If they win the case. Since you have Sente, you can play something else to your position. That's pretty good. Well, I don't know like how the position was in the game, so I can't really say much. This is, yes, it's definitely kind of stuff. Uh, just because if white plays something like this, that exchange is good for black. So I don't think that's a good exchange. This one I don't see very often because I don't think white will play here. I think white will probably choose something like this.
Yeah.
And black Tanuki's like Hane just seems kind of painful for black. Even if white does something like this, like the position just seems too redundant and slow.
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't think that's a good play for black either. This is fine. This is actually completely fine. I think you could probably choose to connect. The point of connect is if white does this, then you have a good position. Here where you can Hane and Sente and stuff like that. And this position is not bad for you. If white does this, then you are saving one liberty by not pushing, and you can probably attack white like this. And this is just a running battle if white wants to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I mean, if you choose to play this type of open, black might choose to want to consider one step further, because if white does this, then you can do this, and then you can nuki, and then this is like a better position for black.
Okay. All these pincer things.
It is kind of, that's a small detail.
Yeah.
Shouldn't. This is still fine.
Okay, then
But
with one other thing then as well, because it also showed with 016 for white, P17, and then white drops down for like the kick shape, and then black P15. So, yes.
this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not too sure. If white jumps, then this is like pretty bad for black. I mean, this shape is just awful for black. It's as if white jumped and then you played this, which is normal, right? And then white attached, and instead of Hane, you came back. I mean, even if white like jumps out, you can see that
Completely surrounded corner.
black's position is way too low. The corner's still open. White's very light, very efficient, has the outside influence, and black's stone at R12 is still too close. So this is not. Josecopedia often has specific variations where the position of the game is completely different. So in that case, maybe this would be a choice, but in this case, when the outside is still so empty, this does not seem very good.
Okay, that makes sense.
There's also there is not this, but there is this is a choice, and this Joseki is something. Oh no, cut maybe something like this. That's also a possibility. White, I have seen stuff like this, but I mean it's whatever for black. So if you're scared of this, I wouldn't be. It's not that big.
Okay.
That exchange, the Q13 R13 exchange, isn't too big.
The what?
So you
Which
shouldn't
ones
be
again?
worried about that. So usually, right, white would exchange this and then play here.
Oh,
This exchange, although it's bad for white, it's not that big of a deal if white doesn't play it. It's not too big of a loss for black.
true, true.
Like maybe point wise, it's a little bigger for black in that case, but like if white plays this to try to go under, it doesn't really matter. Like white is destroying his outside to live to us.
Mm-hmm.
This is fine.
Okay.
Is that clear? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is there any clarification? Okay.
I think that pretty much answers all the questions. Yeah, with this Joseki, yeah, because yeah, I mean, yeah, Q17 just depends on what the rest of the board looks like too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the other.
Right, I can't really decide which side to choose if the outside is open, but that's
Yeah. Let's see, and the other one. Was it 3-4 or 4-4? No, it's got to be 4-4. So it involves the 2-space jump, and I've just always
why I played this.
Maybe it wasn't 4-4. I don't.
It was probably it was definitely this. Yeah.
It was. It
Um,
definitely the 3-4.
yeah. So low approach. Yeah, like
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
And then Josekipedia showed this, and it showed this, and it showed that. But and this, I think it was its number one thing, but this did happen in the game. But I just instantly felt like this was just horrible for me. But I don't, and I tried looking at Josekipedia, but no matter what I looked at, it just didn't look good. So I don't.
You're black, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. This doesn't seem very good for you. If you cut, I think this is too big. The corner is probably too big. This probably, if you have like a huge mono on the outside where you really want influence, but even so, the influence isn't very thick.
Yeah.
And the corner is huge. The corner is pretty big. So I don't know about that one. And this one just feels it just feels slow. Like if white like Atari's first and connects on the outside, it just feels bad for black. And this one, I mean, this one is probably the most severe one. It's probably a running battle. I'm not too sure how black would play around this. Maybe I think blocking might work. This is the one I think is the clearest one, but maybe something like this. I don't know this Joseki, so I can't really say much. Maybe something like this.
Okay. So how would you
But in
respond?
most cases to this,
Hmm.
in most cases, it's this.
Really?
That's just so white can choose Tanuki here. A more common Joseki is this one. And this is just a running battle. You split white, but white has like some forcing moves on the in the corner. But overall, you're attacking white. If
Hmm.
white chooses to Tanuki, then this position is overall settled. You don't white Tanukis. You don't really want to uh, like cut white off. I don't think, since this is helping white settle. You'll place somewhere else. And this is just like a very simplified variant for the Joseki. But if white chooses to pincer, then you can. I don't know if you have a stone here.
I don't remember.
Then you can choose. You can choose to pincer back, or you can probably just pincer back. Something like this. So it's. Let me check Josekipedia. Let me see what's because I've never seen.
I've been seeing these two space things all over the place.
My computer's too slow right now. I'll do it later. But I've never seen that.
Yeah. So there's that, and then
Okay.
just all in all, don't just directly try to cut or attack, whether it be in a corner Joseki or not. Just don't directly attack a two
I
space
think
jump.
right. I think if you have like a stone here, then you can probably attack since white is in your territory. But if it's simply just like this, I don't know.
Well, now I really want to pull up Tigum, see where that game was, to see just what the rest of the board looked like.
Right. We can save the program for next time, or we can go over just the opening for that. Since after a while, it's just fighting. So I don't know. That's not.
Well, I
We can.
was I was thinking that these questions would just be really quick, but they're going a little longer than I
I
thought.
tried to delve in quite specifically in general, so you can ask away.
Okay. Let's see. It wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. Wasn't that one? I know it was recent though. No, whatever. I'll find it for another time or something. But
All right,
yeah.
that's cool. We can go over the program right now,
Yeah.
or if you have any other. Okay,
I don't have any other questions currently, so
cool. Let me pull that up. Wait, let me pull it up in your room. What's your room again?
open dojo.
In Dojo and social.
Mm-hmm. I meant to change it back to night dojo, but I haven't done that yet.
pull it up. Mm, Here we go.
Oh, it won't let me enter it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Is it because it's private?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll make it public. Okay. Well, this is like some game I found on Go for Go. That's pretty recent. It's some Korean new upcoming Future Star tournament. I don't know. So like this is very common as of after AlphaGo. More so, I've seen this. You probably know this. I've seen this more than any other. And so there are two ways to go with the opening. One is to attack or like invade, and one is to make your own territory. So don't really see any problem there. And if black chooses to play something like this, I think it defeats the purpose, because if white simply just develops his own side, black is too confined to his right side. So black chooses to allow white to attack. And well, I have very mixed feelings about the 3-3. I think it's very annoying to play against, but it's hard to like. I feel like people just play 3-3 whenever they have the chance now. So I don't know. So one way for white is to do this. White's obviously bigger, but black can choose to. Black has Sente to invade. Black is confined to a smaller space in the corner, but obviously black has. And this was actually in Lee Chang-ho's game recently. So a very similar variation like this. I think they did something like that. I can't remember. But like the top side was like that. Black probably doesn't want to do this just because that's making white thicker. Another way to go about this is to do this, then double Hane here, and then double Hane. Black Ataris.
I think I've seen something like this before.
This is the AlphaGo way, the original, against Kuji, I think. So that is, but I think that's a little outdated. I'm not too sure. And obviously there's this one, but I feel like this one is too good for black, since it gives actually. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but so in this case, white chooses to Hane, and although locally this is a little worse for white, white gets to play Sente, which is his ultimate goal, to expand his moyo. Usually, white will probably play this to force black to connect, but in this case, I feel like the moyo is too big that black might just Tanuki. And if white spends another move, black might Tanuki again. And so this is probably not too good for white to spend too many moves in that area. So white plays back. This is normal. This is also something AlphaGo influenced. It seems pretty okay, just because it's a good way to reduce white's influence. So back to this pincer. Like, which way would you pincer? Obviously, you saw it, but which way would you rather pincer? Top or bottom?
I'm just trying to think of what I would
Mhm.
do, but I mean, all of Black's potential to build anything's going to be on the top. And I mean, if Black plays something like R8, and I mean, even with something like O8 as well at a later time, that's not all that big compared to even if R12 and then to jump at P12, that's much larger than that bottom area. So Black has better potential to build on the top. So I would say the top side
Okay,
rather
so
than the
you
bottom.
probably play something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, it's true that the top side is very big, but since G16 is such a menace, it's kind of hard to build anything. Since if white just Atari's like if black connects, then the top is completely gone. Right? And if black
True.
chooses to play this code, it's kind of a burden, like a ticking bomb for black, in a sense. And if black chooses to play like this, I mean, it's just helping white. A white side is much bigger than black's top. So as well, I think if black tanukis, there is a lot of Aji in the corner that can be taken advantage of. Since uh, O4 is influence based, but there's still a lot of problems that white can play on the inside. So I think it's it's still debatable because I mean this way, right? Like the bottom isn't very big, but I feel like black's purpose was to reinforce O4 and to make it a little bit stronger.
I see. I mean, that actually answers quite a bit of the problems I have had yesterday and
Oh,
just the last few days because I would always just go for building and not care about my groups. And I end up getting cut up or die or
mhm.
go into co. So,
Or building is important, but it's also important to be thicker. And so another advantage or benefit of playing R8 is that this jump is very big. Like now you can see that black's bottom is very thick, or not thick, but it's starting to take shape as a moyo. Uh, while reducing some of white's influence. So I think this move is very good. It's very big. If black chose to, play on the top still, it's still a possibility. I don't think white would choose to Tanuki in this case. It might be a possibility. I'm not too keen on that. But this is definitely like if white were to further play on the top side, I think this is way too big.
mm-hmm.
Like the bottom is just looks too big. So white chooses to invade. Oh, and then black plays. So I guess black was worried about white Tanuki. Um, and this is Joseki.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, usually I feel like black might play here. Maybe he doesn't want to give white too much. I think this is Joseki because the ladder doesn't work for white. So if white chooses to like extend Atari, black can capture. Maybe in this case, black values Sente way too much. And if white jumps out, this might be a little bad for black. So black chose to do this and just get sent in. So this is obviously worse for black compared to the previous variation, or compared to this, right?
Really?
White is confined in this one, and this one white has. But black gets sente. Black can choose to play elsewhere, which he might think is a lot bigger than the top. And if you think about it, even though white has pushed out, that really doesn't affect black because the panuki on the top is very thick, and black's capturing those two stones is very thick. So white doesn't really gain much. And so now, excuse me. So now, black chooses to invade white. Right here is a bit of fighting that I don't really know what's happening. Usually, I can just say my thought process after my computer stops lagging. So usually the idea is to play here, right? White connects, black might choose to play lightly, something like this. But in this case, I feel like if white just pushes, black's shape is in tumbles, and there's no really good way to attack the bottom stone.
Yeah.
Since the space is open. So black chooses to counter-attack with this move. I think it's a pretty good move. Let me... Computer is quite bad right now. So, I think this is white's only move in this scenario, because if white chooses to like attach or something, or Atari, and then black gets this, oops, and white chooses to Atari again. Like if something like this were to happen, like this is completely atrocious for white.
Mm-hmm.
And then black. This is just a failure for white. So white can only. Actually, now that I think about it, this fight isn't as
complicated.
Yeah, that's the word. But I guess black didn't. Black playing this move. I think he wants to push into the corner. I think that's his plan. Or just to gain influence on the outside. While there's still Aji on the bottom. And so he wants to block. Now white is in trouble because white can't push out for very obvious reasons. Like this is just this is horrible. So white chooses to do this first. Try to gain sente try to get this move in sente so that he can push out. But I feel like this is overall a very big success for black, because the corner is huge for one, and then black still gets to play this. He still gets this move, and gets the panuki. Like even though it's still a running battle, I feel like since black already got the corner, if he just makes the D7 group move out, it should be a good success for black.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, obviously, black is territory since he has 3 corners and a pretty big side, but the determining The for the determinant for the game is probably in this fight. Uh, so white chooses to not attack black and to just kill those 4 stones, which is smart because he himself is weak. He's not alive yet either. So I guess he just wanted to play a simpler variation. But I think at this point of the game, black is pretty ahead. If we count, white has probably like 12 on the upper right, 10 on the side, 22, and probably like, let's say, 12 in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's 30, 34 plus coming. Maybe let's say it's 40 with coming. And then black has a 10 on the top, 8 on the bottom right, on the bottom left, maybe like 5 in the middle. That already makes 23. And the right side is, I think, if black makes like more than 20, he's ahead. And black is very thick all around. So I think after this exchange, I can play a little further since we still have time. This is a very good move for white. It's a good way to attack the 2-space jump. If black plays like this, then white can just come back. I think that happened in the game. If black chooses this, then I think white can do something like this. And maybe jump out. And black still has to play back, which is a burden for him. And then white successfully invades the corner. So black played this first. White is forced to play here. White probably can't play something like this. Because if black plays another move here, white is forced to come back here. I think black can directly play this. This separates white. This is bad for white.
Mm-hmm.
White has to play this. Black has to connect the 2 stones. White connects, but you can see that black gets the outside influence. White is successful in getting invading some of the points on the bottom side, but black still has good influence on the top. And now it's harder for white to move out the R10 stone compared to before this. I think white can easily move this out, but then the bottom is an issue. I feel like now we can count again. I said the upper right was 12. The bottom is probably like
maybe 20 now?
25 now. Maybe 25, 37, 47. So white gained quite a lot of points. Wait. 20. So white gained around like 15 points in this exchange. But the bottom is 12 points. The top is, let's say, 10, 22. The right side is pretty big, 20. I mean, let's say it's 30 points. So black has like 52. And the middle is like, let's say, 5 points. So 50, 57. So black is ahead. I think comfortably now. And he has Sente. This move is pretty big because it attacks the corner too. They're still Aji in the corner. And if we... I mean, the rest of the game is pretty boring, I think. It's just... Like, this game, mostly I wanted to focus on the opening.
Hmm.
Like after a while, black just pulls way too far ahead. So, do you have any questions or places you want me to elaborate more on? Because I kind of skipped through some stuff.
I kind of want to look more into this right side um, with what happened in the game there.
The upper right corner.
Hmm.
Okay.
Because I mean, I'm still trying to get my head to understand how when you showed the what happened in the game and then a bad version. No,
It's
the
um well, it's not a bad version. It's just that black chose Sente over point in this case.
Mhm.
So okay, this is normal. Usually black chooses to play like this, but he chose not to. I think because he was planning to go this way all along. And this exchange is pretty good for both. But in a normal setting where Sente isn't of importance, I think mm, maybe Atari. Oh, no, something like this. Okay. So obviously black has more influence on the outside, but I think he's scared that if white jumped out, his influence isn't very big, since white's wall is very thick on the left side, and he can't really gain much influence.
Okay.
So this is a special. This is like what I'm saying about Josecopedia. Like they'll they'll that database will just use every variation they can find in professional games and say it's correct or good or whatever. But in a normal game, if you were to say Sente weren't a big deal, like if this happened, it would be disaster for Black. So it's game. It's by game.
And the Q13 P14 thing that is still good for black. I mean, you it yeah bad, but oh wait, no, it was the Sente Gote thing. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Sente go to. I mean, if okay, if this happened where Sente weren't a big deal, 017 is very weak, right?
Hmm.
And then if Black didn't have the Panuki on the top side, Black can expand further on the upper side. But since Black has a Tanuki, Black is very thick with the two stones captured. He can choose the Tanuki. White probably won't spend. White definitely won't spend another move on the top side because that's way too small.
Makes sense.
I personally, I probably wouldn't do this because I wouldn't think that far ahead. But it's abnormal, but it definitely makes sense. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Oh, not this.
Let's see. I don't think there was anything else that I had questions with. It most of it has just been that I'm just I mean, look after all of this. I mean, I definitely don't judge the board in a way that I probably should be. I mean, like mentioned before, with between R18 and R12, whether or not I should go for Sente Gote or Gote in a Joseki variation, or like how it will look like. I mean, here I probably would just do what I usually do in a Joseki and not worry about the bottom necessarily,
Right.
or worry about Sente Gote too much.
So my opinion on Joseki. Go ahead.
I don't remember what else I was gonna say.
Okay, so oh my bad. But I was I was just gonna say my opinion of Joseki is that it's an aid for you to get 50/50, but Joseki shouldn't be set in stone. I think Joseki, the only purpose of Joseki is to get a 50/50 position. And if you can, uh, if it, in such cases, it's okay to maybe lose like 5 points to gain that day, or to play something that normally wouldn't be considered Joseki because it's not the 50 in that current position. But if you can gain like a bigger advantage on the outside with Sente or with thickness, I think it's a good idea. And I feel like this game is a good representation of that, since usually white Joseki would say white has to play here, and the black connects, and then white can play elsewhere. This is 50/50 in the corner, but white chose to. And
Oh, you have it too.
it's Katus Crusher.
Yeah, I had a disconnection as well.
Oh. I don't think the game will, the stuff will save anymore. But oh wait, the connection's really bad. But I just wanted to say like, yeah. In that case, black can connect. Black will choose to sacrifice maybe like 5 points in that area to gain Sente elsewhere. And obviously that's not Joseki because it's not 50/50, but the board is still very empty, and it's good to maybe deviate or try to deviate from Joseki from time to time to get a better position elsewhere on the board.
Okay. That does make sense, yeah.
Like, I am very fond of Joseki because it's very straightforward. You don't really have to think. But it's not good. Like it should be recommended or encouraged to maybe play stuff that's not standard.
Yeah. No, it
It
sounds
just working. You know. Is it?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, disconnect again. So we won't go over the. Did you do the life and death? I gave.
No,
two-
I've been dealing
two
with
lessons ago.
I've been dealing with virus and cold stuff, so I've been
Oh wow.
yeah.
Better.
I just cannot think
Is it the
properly.
flu?
Oh, maybe flu virus thing.
Because
Yeah.
the flu is pretty bad this winter. All right, I hope you get better. Then we'll just leave it at that this time.
Pretty much, yeah. Although
If you have any other inquiries, any other questions?
The only other thing that I wanted to ask, other than what I already asked, was what. I mean, you got a little more insight on a little bit of the way that I think in regards to opening and how I see the board, but what do you think is something I should change about that? Like how, well, not
Something you
just,
should change.
or yeah, like the aspect of the board. Like how, like what should I think? Like instead of instead of the usual things like I should fight, I should protect, or base. Like what should be the topic of thinking when debating on the opening in general? Because I know it
Okay,
can't be the answer
specifically in
for
the opening.
everything. Yeah, yeah.
So, uh, in the opening, I still encourage Joseki because Joseki is the determining factor for how your open goes. And if you know more Joseki, then you can visualize the end result of that Joseki in relation to the rest of the board. So I would say think more on direction more so than just the direction of the Joseki you're choosing. Uh, the minor stuff, like if like for example the pincer, like one space, two space pincer, isn't a big deal if you choose direction correctly. And yeah, I that would be my biggest advice. I don't know if that makes sense. Like
Oh, it makes sense. Yeah.
the Josek, the opening is very big. It's not set in stone. You can do almost anything you want. Just don't localize or don't spend too much time thinking on one space where you pigeonhole yourself into one like maybe one corner where you lose track of direction or your position on the entirety of the board is probably the bigger case. And so Josekipedia is a good resource for learning Joseki, like in case you have trouble with maybe a different variation. But don't like I know Josekipedia has like those good, bad, questionable like, stuff like that. Don't take that too strictly because it doesn't take into consideration the rest of the board. And so, like the two space pincer for the 3/4 that you showed me earlier with like the cutting points,
Hmm.
it might say good on Josekipedia, but it's probably not good in that case. Do you kind of get that? I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if I'm
yeah.
being
No,
coherent enough.
it all makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I'm
Um,
also just trying to merge that with the idea of like what you mentioned before when I was the 3/4 and then the two space enclosure of the corner. The whole thing on the right where I want to do pincer above rather than below. Just
mhm.
the making sure that groups are okay too, because I feel like uh, I was gonna say something, but I'm not able to find the words I'm looking for with that. That I was gonna add on to all of that
Oh,
regarding direction, but
that's fine.
direction and living.
Uh, but I feel like it's a very it's a very good feeling when you reinforce the group while making territory, which is like I feel like that's just like a good feeling
Yeah.
to reinforce. Yeah, soon this will come with intuition, just like choosing top or bottom, stuff like that.
Hmm.
But for now, kind of spend more time in thinking. I don't know what time settings are you playing for each game.
Stop it, phone. What was that?
What time settings are you using to play each game?
Let's see. On Tygem, the lowest I do is 10-minute main time. Um, but I usually never go below that. But I feel most comfortable in 25-30 minute May time, and that's what I do at the club in person.
Right. 25, 30 minutes. Uh, I encourage you to play not very much, but 1 to 2 games of faster games each week. If that's like if that's if that can fit into your schedule. Maybe you play with 5 minutes or maybe 1 minute basic time and 3 times 30. Just so you limit yourself into only playing by intuition. And like in the beginning you might find a lot of trouble with doing that. But after a while I think it's good to like get rid of that clutter that sometimes you have like with overthinking when you have too much time in the opening. Because like professionals, they spend the least time in opening, I feel. Because they know like what to do. Maybe they if a Joseki deviates from normal, they might think on that. But that's more like fighting, you know. Position wise, they kind of understand where to go, and that comes with intuition, like a sense of direction. So maybe not blitz like KGS 3 times 10 seconds because that's overwhelming. But maybe 5 minutes, 3 times 30, just so you can maybe spend like 5 minutes in opening, and like the rest is just based on intuition. It's kind of counterintuitive to do that. I feel like with because most teachers tell you to play serious games, but I feel like it helped me a lot because and it's more fun. It's like casual. The win or loss doesn't really like have much meaning because it's blitz or fast. I don't know. That's my biggest advice. I tell everyone to do that, and they're usually like, "What?" It doesn't make any sense, but I feel like it helped me a lot. So.
Okay.
And you're at that level where you can play some quality game. Like if I told that to a DDK, then obviously it wouldn't have any effect. But since you're already like at dawn level, it's okay. So I mean, it's fun too. So.
I've always been bothered by blitz stuff, but I mean, I can see its worth.
Like not like no thinking at all, but just
spending less.
And you don't have to do it immediately. Like you say, your lowest time limit is 10 minutes right now, so maybe start with 5 minutes. And if you're comfortable with 5 minutes, do 1 minute. And gradually, you'll be more comfortable with faster games and faster thinking. And in tournaments, right? In tournaments, you're going to be limited with time. And if you get into Byomi, there's time pressure. And it's good to kind of be able to think more quickly. Have you been to any tournaments as of lately? Or
recently, no. I think the last one I went to was before I moved down here to Arizona. That was like 2 years ago.
Which tournament?
The Portland Open they do it every year around October, November, just over in Portland. But I mean, it's very, very commonly. I mean, a lot of people around the U.S. come to it. I've met a few people that are dons around there. I think the last time I went, there were maybe 7 to 10 dons. 3 of them were 765 don.
Oh wow! Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty well known by a lot of people in Portland and whatnot. So, but there is there is a tournament coming, a new open thing. it's a new thing that's going on around here with the Phoenix Club. Let's see if I can find the...
Mm. Is Martin Level from Arizona?
Is what?
Do you know Martin Level?
I know
He's
a
like
Martin, but I
uh,
don't know his last name. So it might be the same person, but he
I think he has like a beard, pretty big. But he's like
pretty big guy.
I know, yeah, I know he's from Arizona. He like is very avid with tournaments in the area. So maybe it's
I think that's the same
directed
guy.
by him. I don't know.
I think it's the same guy because
Okay,
he's
okay,
also
maybe.
doing a he just joined the new league, the 3 month league thing. I don't remember who does the tournament thing or the league thing,
Oh,
but
City League.
yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I believe, I mean, I've
I'm
beaten
pretty sure
him.
there's very few Martins, so I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah, and I think he was just recently put as a AGA 7 Dan or 6 Dan. I don't remember, but
right, right,
I've beaten him more than I've lost to him.
right.
And the last time I played him, I won, but he misread one of the smaller things. But
Mhm. Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
oh yeah,
He's a Bo fanatic. Like he goes to every tournament, or he used to. I don't know if he still is,
he
but
loves fighting though.
yeah. I mean, if you can learn some fighting with like playing against him, that's pretty good. Right?
hmm I think I spent like an hour and a half or 2 hours on the game. I think it, yeah, probably about an hour and a half with that last game
Yeah.
I played with him.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I was gonna
Okay.
draw, but I think I might just
Mhm.
go to the club today. He goes from
Okay.
1 to 5, but I'm gonna see if I can find him or the other 6 Dan or something. Because I've beaten everyone except one person, and he's the same rank as us, but I lost by 3.5, and then I lost by half a point,
Oh no.
but
So it's
I've
very
never
close.
beaten him.
Oh gosh. Oh, you can. Good luck with that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So do you have any other questions that maybe popped up? Or,
No, I think
uh,
I think we've gone over everything that I need to work on and focus on. Not be too strict on, but focus on.
okay. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that.
And there you have it, the fourth lesson with Calvin Sun. I thank you for watching this video and for being a patron. I am very, very grateful for that. And I hope you are able to gain a lot of information from these games and be able to think about them in your games and exercise these things. And I will see you next time. Later.